Hello, you may know this man. He's your boy, a famous master. Martial arts master who has just been released from Russia's most dangerous prison. And he's ready to conquer the world of mixed martial arts. World of mixed martial arts, but even in his nightmares he could never have imagined. Imagine what he'll have to endure on his way to worldwide renown. Young Yuri Kovy trains and performs. Kiev, he spent 10 years in a strict colony and hundreds of undergrade fights in which he participated. To free himself, anyone else would have given up on his dreams long ago, but Loris has resisted. He dreams of real titles, not prison. Meanwhile, in the Black Hills where the fighter served and fought a new adversary appears, a prisoner. Was nicknamed Nightmare. One day between two fights from the cellars of Khyber to make donations to the local church. The church was built thanks to him. The fighter tries to find salvation in religion, but the priest doubts his way of life. Rice's emergency room medical doctor is scared. He recollects what the priest informed him some days earlier. What the priest had informed him some days earlier than the fight. The following morning, he wakes up from a nightmare and heads immediately for the Kirill is already looking forward to him. Yuri begins off evolved, asking him what befell to yesterday's opponent. His supervisor would not apprehend why Yuri desires to know. Whilst he is already won. He tells him the truth. Duriz would not accept as true with him and asks, who laughed on the opponent's call? Reputedly the person's call is Victor. And he is from Drugnaya city in Russia. The supervisor advises Yuri to overlook the tale and circulate on. Approximately it and circulate on. Anyway, all of the warring parties are aware about the risks. Once they step into the ring, however, Yuri would not need to take his advice. After seeing the image of Victor and his wife, he decides to Russia to make amends. Although he stays a fugitive crook who left prison, way to clandestine fights. Yuri orders his assistant to falsify his documents, and makes it clean that he might not take no for an answer. Refusal. As Yuri arrives in Russia, Victor's funeral takes region in the small drug city. A person processes the widow of the fighter. He informs the lady that her husband's loss of life does now no longer exonerate her from paying the tax, a certain, and that it become now as much as the widow to attend to it. Zurdu Riz meanwhile crosses the Russian border with a fake passport. He arrives at a motel and immediately to the Kids and Youngsters Center, in which Victor's widow works. However, they do not have time to talk. Humans come to take the lady away in a black vehicle and take her somewhere. Duriz manages to get a few information from a shield who tells him that the widow has been taken to his house. Widow has been taken to her second job. The mysterious jury is going to the cope with and discovers that it is a nightclub. In which martial arts fights. Blended martial arts fights take region. He stands on the door and watches an undefeated champion fight. Undefeated champion Igor Casimir Yuri, and is enraged. Via way of means of the fighter's haughty demeanor. He acts as though he owns the ring, and used it as a detour in opposition to his opponents. Then Yuri receives distracted via way of means of different matters. He see that Victor's widow works right here as a waitress. Time to speak to the widow. The bouncers their marks and is taken out of doors. They say that the female belongs to their boss and that Yuri isn't allowed. The province curie men, and within the blink of a watch they are lying like sacks of potatoes. A man similar to before comes out of the alternative constructing and introduces himself. As Arabe, he applauds Yuri for the display he is simply placed on and informs that the container belongs to him. The nearby crime boss even gives his reggae. However, Yuri refuses the provide. He says he is right here to speak. Alma, the waitress Los Angeles Zorab, resolutely refuses. resolutely and orders his boys to preserve a watch on Yuri. However, the nearby bandits' threats do not faze. The following day he returns to Delmet's workplace, and after Zurab's henchmen get inside, he hesitates to inform the widow the reality to the widow, expressing simplest his condolences and giving Alma and letters from her past due husband. However, whilst the daughter starts to surprise how they recognize every different, they drop the Project C. Yuri asks if he can do anything for Alma. She replies that the simplest component she desires is for her husband. Again from the lifeless. She refuses the cash Yuri gives her. Shall we embrace it is stained with blood then? She says he is an assassin. Meanwhile, new combatants are delivered to the Zurab's club. However, the mafioso would not like them. He is seeking out an actual champion. Nearby fights into actual spectacles and must wait lengthy. Yuri seems on the club's door. Yuri gives Zorabin a deal: if he fights combat in his ring, the mafioso will depart Alma alone. The men agree on 3 matches. However, on circumstance that Yuri fights with the club's predominant champion. Nurit concurs and says he's going to do all 3 fights with inside the subsequent week because he has no purpose of staying right here. There may be simplest one problem. Zurab calls Yuri via way of means of his actual call loudly demonstrating that he cannot escape, in spite of fake documents. After this verbal exchange, Yuri calls Kirill. He tells him he's going to must live any other week. The supervisor attempts to dissuade him. Orders his assistant to alternate the price tag for any other date the following day. Alma waits for Yuri out of doors the lodge. She tells the combatants that she hasn't requested for her assist and needs that she depart her alone. Victor's widow mistakenly believes that Yuri has come right here to win her over as though she have been a few form of prize. However, the fighter makes it clean that they are now no longer inquisitive about her. He simply wants to redeem himself at the day of the primary match.